All right, check this out. We used to drink San Pellegrino. Now we're in Muy Peligroso.
See, this is why you're my dad's favorite.
Yeah.
This is why he wishes he had you as a son.
He wishes he had you as a son.
Yeah.
Well, what if he did?
It's possible.
Yeah, potentially.
Let's get on Maury Povich and figure this out.
All right, let's kick it off. Hello, friends. It's your Chapo. We got a full deck today. The whole squad is gonna hit this one. We're chilling, feeling good. I think let's kick things off. Talking about just update on the Iran situation. Last episode, we were very worried about the nightmare scenario that could spawn out of this, which very much still could happen. But I was going to say, at least so far, it seems like both sides have backed down. Iran did their retaliation, surface-to-surface missiles fired at an American military base, but they warned the Iraqi government like an hour before and only destroyed property. And I think it was pretty clear that they were, doing it symbolically and not something that was designed to inflict mass casualties.
But I saw the missiles precisely hit their targets.
Yes, I think they were literally just hitting what they knew were empty buildings,
but with no error whatsoever.
Well, I think what they're showing is that if they really wanted to, they would.
Right.
Yeah,
I didn't realize they had that capability.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
No, they're pretty goated. They're pretty.
Oliver North had a lot to do with that. Way to go, buddy.
They're kitted out.
I'm pretty, cautiously optimistic that this might just be the closest we came to disaster and avoid it. The thing I keep waiting for is because Trump is not, he's conflict averse, he's antagonistic. Remember that anecdote about how when people would lose their baseballs in his yard as a child, he would yell from the second story window that if they went into his yard, he was going to call the police. That's more his style. That's more his style.
I've never heard that.
He doesn't actually like conflict. He likes antagonizing. And I feel like I'll feel a lot better when someone gets fired, when whoever he can blame or whoever he can be you told me no one would be mad at me if I did this, gets fired.
Yeah.
That speech he made, the statement,
Oh,
the next
yeah.
day,
Yeah.
that was he was absolutely awake for 36 hours, just flipped out that everyone was mad at him.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
God, Tucker.
did not expect it coming.
Tucker's mad at me. What's going on?
Yeah.
Why is Tucker so mad? No, Tucker, please. I'm sorry. I don't. I take it back. I take it back.
The weirdest thing is I really think our foreign policy right now is a push and pull between the 8 and 9 o'clock slots on Fox News, where it's Sean Hannity is just yes, Mr. President, now is the time to be decisive, strike back hard on all our enemies. And then Tucker's no, strike back hard against all our enemies in this country.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Against the gay people and Mexicans.
Yeah.
Please, do an airstrike on them.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think it's just he did it because he thought he would look tough and cool, and then everyone got mad at him. And then he literally at that press conference says, what we want to do now is negotiate.
Yeah.
He literally said, I want to
Yeah.
make a good deal happen. It's just
Yeah.
dude,
They had a good
that
deal.
ship has sailed.
The initial tweet, though, was they've never won a war, but they've never lost a deal thing, where
Not
you could
true.
tell he was definitely trying
Yeah.
to hedge his bets on that. Because
Yeah.
again, he doesn't want to. He's not going to go into the yard and kick your ass if you get your baseball. He wants to scream at you from the second story window.
I'm just I'm laughing and imagining a scenario where the scrappy neighborhood baseball team, maybe the one kid who's a little bit of an outsider, brings his dad's signed baseball by all of the murderers your Yankees and then hits a dinger into Trump's yard, and they have to do lovable hijinks, but then are arrested by the police when little Lord Fauntleroy calls the cops on them.
People.
I was thinking it'd be like the Sandlot, where you would imagine Trump as this hulking behemoth, And then when you actually get into the junkyard, he's like a little.
He's James Earl Jones.
I would love to pretend to drown in the White House pool, so Donald Trump had to give me CPR, like in The Sandlot.
People got mad at Geraldo for saying thank you, Iran, and thank you, Trump, for not escalating this any further. And I get that, but then I realized, wait a minute. Geraldo is one of a handful of people that the president actually listens to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he is a serious advisor to the president.
No, did you see that?
So he actually has a moral obligation to flatter him to prevent a war.
Did you see that thing where Geraldo was just like, he was just like, Mr. President, I'm begging you, I'm beseeching you, don't make this terrible mistake again. Like, we cannot afford this war. Please de-escalate the conflict. And people were like, you should go on Fox and say that. And he goes, I'll be on Hannity tonight discussing this very issue. Several minutes later, follow-up tweet, Hannity has just canceled on me. He has just canceled my appearance. So
Geraldo has weirdly like reasonable views on foreign policy, and I don't know where they came from.
Well, because Geraldo's one of those
young
just
lords.
weepy older
They
dudes
came from the young lords.
who just get passionate and just like talk themselves into every position, never having thought about it before, and then they forget about it. As
He
soon as
is
they're
like
done talking.
most Americans.
Yes.
He found them in Al Capone's vault.
Nice.
All right.
excellent.
Let's go, baby.
Excellent. Well, I would just say the slight qualifier to a sort of glimmer of optimism that we've averted the worst case scenario is that now apparently everyone in the military is saying that Iran definitely shot down that Ukrainian passenger jet the other night.
Yeah.
So make of that what you will. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't believe anything that the military says at this point, but it's conceivable that it might have been an accident.
Tell you what,
seems like the thing
regardless,
that
not
makes
my
the most
business.
sense.
Not my
Like,
business.
They should not have been taking off in that environment. Something fucked up to let them to take off in the first place, and maybe they got misidentified.
It feels like this
by
is
anti-aircraft.
the fifth Ukrainian passenger jet that's blown up in a war zone in the past few years. Why do people keep flying with that airline?
why don't they make
because it's the only airline that gives me points on my credit card. Like,
Why-
do you know of a better way to get to Balakistan?
The one interesting digression here, regardless of what happened or not, is all of the like hot war pig neocons who have just discovered, like, they're like, if what is being suggested is true, if this is confirmed that a passenger jet has been shot down with a missile over Iranian airspace, then any country that would do that needs to be wiped off the map. There is no coming back from that.
Now, any country that would do something like that has forfeited their right to exist. Monstrous. How dare
Yeah.
they?
If you're confused with what we're talking about, just Google Iranian passenger jet blown up with missiles.
SexyTeens.com.
So, yeah, I think I know we had I exhaled when I saw that tweet from Trump where he just said, "All is well, all is well."
It's okay, folks. We're done. Okay.
Feeling
I'll stop.
fine.
Yeah. So,
I told you before, I had a friend call and ask me, like, because she's like sort of, she only became political very recently and she never had like a hysterical lib phase. And she's like, so this Iran thing, this is just like more liberal hysteria, right? And I'm like, this one might actually be a problem.
yeah.
But that is a fair assessment given the history of every kind of like hysteria that's come prior, where it's like, it's probably good not to panic.
I will
I'm-
openly cop to any prospect of just a cascade of military escalations and provocations between Iran and America. Like, I will be hysterical about that.
The thing that
No,
was,
what I'm saying is that it's worth keeping an eye on.
Yeah.
what we underestimated though, and totally fairly considering how terrifying the prospect were, is that at the end of the day, Iran is ruled by rational actors.
This is also
They are the realpolitik government that wants to sustain itself. They don't have a death wish. They want to keep governing, and that means you can be dealt with. And that is not what we have. But thankfully, they are that.
I would just like to say I was glad I was not on that episode because I would have said, I don't know, I think it might be okay, and just ruined everyone's buzz.
Well, it's like if there's a libidinal element to that. Like whenever that happens,
I
whenever
mean-
we get a crisis, there's just
it might
everybody
not.
gets that Hitler in the bunker kind of frigid for a second. It makes things a little more interesting.
Well,
you know?
this is in some ways a replay of 2017 when we didn't know who Trump was or what Trump being president would look like, and the North Korea flare-up happens, and you don't know how much of this is just, just diplomatic empty threats, like the sorts of threats that have been exchanged between our countries for the past few decades, or how much of this is real because we have a game show host who's senile as president.
Yeah,
I had the same evaluation then, though, too, where I was like, I have to say, I think North Korea might be kind of better at state management, and like that would be the thing.
Yeah,
that would
it
save
really
us.
does feel like it.
I
But
mean,
we really are putting the screws on him too.
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
thing, and at some point, I think there's a breaking.
There is a
point.
breaking point.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean it also had a little sort of echoes of the strike against Syria, where again
I was much more worried that was the trial run because I remember.
that was
that
was the trial run. Everyone freaked out.
I was
because it
freaked
like,
for
is
that,
this
and then I was like, oh.
it was literally just the fucking It was pretty much just that, and I mean the war with Iran is tremendously unpopular, and there's a huge apparatus in DC that sort of agitates against Iran, but there's nothing quite like a PNAC. There's nothing quite where people are as high placed as like the sort of PNAC barnacles ended up. There's FDD, but they're like seem more freakish to me than PNAC. They seem a little bit more out there, and this engagement seems so much less popular than any of the previous ones. It is, I think, maybe one of those issues where we may generally be moving in the right direction against military engagement and against
like I said,
intervention.
I'll exhale. Like I think we might be okay, but I'll exhale completely when he fires somebody and says like they're the person who told me it would be fine and no one would be mad at me.
I mean, the first mention of Trump had of Soleimani was when Hugh Hewitt interviewed him in 2015.
Oh God, he goes, I know. Oh yeah, the guy I know, but just for the audience, please.
His best.
Of course, I know who this person is.
That is a pro.
But if you
move.
could just say the name and explain who they are.
Now the search for Trump begins.
It's like me at a party.
Because Trump loves talking about the hot generals, but Soleimani,
he was the hottest.
Oh, he was so
general,
daddy.
the hottest general of all
So
time.
so much
daddy.
hotter than like fucking
Raisin Cane.
Yeah,
Raisin Cane's the fucking crone compared to
Petraeus.
him.
These guys all look like they've been in the Ron Popeil food dehydrator. They're not luscious daddies
Yeah.
like Soleimani
Soleimani
was.
took care of his skin. He was in good shape. He had beautiful eyes.
Clearly, amazing Mediterranean diet his whole life.
Yeah, the search begins by Trump for a
We gotta
real
get a
hot
hot general.
because he knows he's just doing marketing. Like he's rolling out all these guys who look like they just sit with their arms folded in the Home Depot parking lot waiting for the truck to be loaded up. And he's like, oh yeah, these are the sexiest guys I've ever seen. But we know he doesn't believe that.
Well, none of them are Tom Cruise, who is
Yeah.
the sexiest
Yeah.
man
Yes.
alive, according
But they have better bodies.
according to Trump. But they have bigger, better bodies. No, it's funny you bring up Petraeus as a good. He's probably the only like American general that was like as even close to being as revered as like a national hero the way
Yeah, and in
Soleimani
terms
was.
of having, he was CIA director as well.
Yeah.
He had a wide
Yeah,
swell.
he had like a big portfolio of crimes
Yes.
to draw from. But I remember, back in like the height of like surge mania, and when everyone was just going, creaming
Oh, yeah.
themselves about fucking our General Petraeus.
Including like war skeptic people. They all got
Yeah.
like, this is different.
Oh, he believes in coin.
Yeah.
He has the coin doctrine
Yep.
or whatever.
Admission, never knew what that was.
Oh, it meant that way he thought that if you jumped on Iraqis' heads, it would be a coin that varied. The amount varied on the size of the Iraqi,
Right,
And
right.
he thought that Marines who were potentially at risk for IEDs, they could use this piece of military equipment called the Tanuki. So they could fly over the IEDs.
See, I like when Felix gives me these explanations because I'm one of those people who has sort of gone out of their way, just out of defiance, to not learn very much about foreign policy. Because I have like such a simple foreign policy, which is just like don't intervene and take in refugees. And like, I think that one of the ways they slide through what justifies an intervention is by creating an army of well-paid so-called experts to argue that something is complicated. So my defense against all of this is to just be stupid and ignorant and be like, no. And they're like, well, don't you know about, like, no, I don't know about that. And I still don't agree and we're still not going.
I do agree with that. I do think they kind of like psyop well-meaning people into interventionists.
Well, that's the way it starts. They start out like you find a lot of people that were like, say like anti-war in the 80s, and then they became experts and they spent a lot of time, learning about the region, and they become specialists in, Middle East and North Africa, and then slowly they start to see things as like the good guys and the bad guys, and they get invested in it like it's a fucking cowboy movie, and they completely lose the ground underneath their feet. So this is why I prefer to think the Coin Doctrine also relates to a Tanuki suit.
But Felix, I think you had it exactly right. Like when they laid out, these are all our options for retaliation, and they're pointing at this one. They're trying to get him to
like Eric Trump. And the cover of the magazine.
They put 5 options on the table and they just start padding one in the hopes that
they rub that one in peanut butter.
And then he chose killing Soleimani because he was the hottest general.
Yeah,
and he wants America to have the hottest generals, and as long as that guy was alive,
we were not going to have the hottest generals.
But as far as Petraeus goes, as like the contrast between him and Soleimani, I remember reading about Petraeus in these like breathless profiles of him that like he wakes up every morning and runs 10K, and I just like he's just wiry. He loves cardio, and I just all I could think about that was the scene in Eastbound and Down, the series premiere, where the principal Cutler is just like, oh, I'm training to do a triathlon. Like, but you probably know all about that, Kenny. And he goes,
No, actually, I don't. I play real sports. Not trying to be the best at exercising.
No, I don't. I play real sports. Not trying to be the best at exercising.
Because Soleimani was a fucking builder.
Yeah, he was a trainer and a bodybuilder.
Yeah,
they had bodybuilder,
not a guy who just runs around.
Yeah, there's a great picture of a bodybuilding contest in Iran. And the backdrop on the stage is just a giant picture of Soleimani.
I've seen that. It's awesome. It's awesome.
So like all those Iranian muscle men that we love on Instagram, like that's their goals. Like that's their godfather.
That's their Rich Piana.
Yeah.
And then look at contrast the careers. Like first of all, contrast how they did in Iraq. Soleimani clearly more successful over the long term than Petraeus was. Then look at how their career ended. Soleimani killed in the field of battle basically by treacherous American scum. Petraeus got too horny and gave classified information to his mistress for her book.
And he was undone not by the mistress, but by like the catty social network of army officer
it's not like it was some sort of like fucking FSB honeypot. It was a bunch of chatty Cathys
in Tampa,
like a bunch of real housewives of the U.S. Marine Corps just throwing drinks in each other's faces and writing cat emails to each other.
Yeah, that's cardio guy energy.
Yeah.
And Petraeus is just like the little cat looking over the table, like in the meme.
Can you imagine Soleimani doing something that pathetic? Never.
Little cat.
Just to transition from the foreign to the domestic. I mean, I'm exhaling a little bit. Things can always get worse, but for now, it seems like we've avoided the most nightmare scenario imaginable. But I guess one thing that's been useful about coming to the brink of total disaster is it's been a very, very clarifying moment as far as the Democratic primary is concerned. And we've talked about this, and I singled out Elizabeth Warren for her terrible initial response to it, and the fact that now since then she allowed Meghan McCain to she withered under questioning by Meghan McCain,
losing a battle of wits to an unarmed person. Not good.
And I guess very, very, very clarifying as far as how all the candidates reacted to this. And we went over that on the last episode, but I would like to talk a little bit about our girl Elizabeth Warren, who just the other day had an event here on our home turf in Brooklyn at the King's Theater, and this is her sharing the stage with Julian Castro. And I just want to talk a little bit about we talked about Castro on the show before, and the fact that he is rebranded as the woke guy, despite being the foreclosure tyrant during the Obama administration. And he dropped out and then has endorsed Warren, clearly as setting up a VP nod. I'm imagining this is what they're this is it's a sign that your campaign is not doing well when you're trying to announce who your vice president is before you've even secured the nomination. But I just think
Ted
it's funny.
Cruz energy there.
I just think it's funny that like the Warren campaign, like the Warren people are so excited about the Castro endorsement, and it's just like, who gives a shit? Who cares about this guy? He never polled more than 1% and like was losing his home state. Like,
Yeah, but they're genuinely cynical, and they're like, it literally is. They're like, we've got an ethnic. That's literally it.
Yes.
Castro was.
He's a Pokemon.
Castro's one of the most cynical candidates I've ever seen in my life. He's incredible. To go from like the awful, awful HUD guy under Obama, just selling out poor people, selling out their homes, and then when you're like 50, to be like, y'all, we got to talk about decolonizing sex work. Wait, what's up, man?
The guy helped preside over the
Doing a hard
the housing stock of like black Americans basically got wiped out, and he presided over that happening. And now he's the intersectional candidate.
My favorite thing about Castro is just like he's just trying his heart out up there. He's rolling through all the check marks. He knows everything that every journalist pretends to care about.
Yeah.
And Biden is right next to him, and Biden's like, and that's the moment when Mexicans started using pomade. That's when we started getting them confused with Portuguese. And, we have a saying around the block in Delaware, when the cat starts jiving, that's when the mouse starts doing the same thing. And, of course, that's all. I think we're going to look 100 years from now, we're all going to be black. And it's just crushing him.
Yeah.
Crushing him.
Destroying him.
Absolutely obliterating him.
His eyebrows really are what's going to stick with me.
Real
Just
strong.
so perfectly,
real strong.
perfectly.
He's tidy.
tailored and
He's a
groomed.
tidy guy.
That's really key what you said, Felix. What all these journalists pretend to care about. Because after Julian Castro left the race, everyone was saying, I see all these people saying, well, isn't it a shame the only Latino candidate has been forced out of the race? And it's like, you didn't support him. Because I know that because
Warren.
nobody supported him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, it's like there's no value added because everyone who liked Castro was already voting for Warren.
Yeah.
Like, there's just zero value added for that.
Or Pete.
Yeah.
I mean, to say liked him, I mean, fine, as like a vague second or third choice, somebody who seemed hopeless, but you can feel like a good person for saying I like that man.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think for Warren to make such a big deal of this, I think there's two big reasons. One is she's been eating shit for a while. Ever since the squad endorsement, she's been losing out on all of these key endorsements to Bernie Sanders. The last big one she got was the Working Families Party, which I personally think kind of blew up in both their faces.
Yeah.
Most recently, the
Good
Sunrise
job,
Movement
morons.
endorsement, which they thought they would get. Or at least
and
make a
the
big
vote
play
was a
for it.
landslide, 80-20.
Landslide.
80-20.
Crushed.
Also, the
And-
Dream Defenders.
Castro is at least someone people might recognize. And so, of course, you want to make a big deal of it. And the other thing is, Warren wants to turn the page of war shit. She clearly hates talking about this shit. It's not in her wheelhouse. It's not at all central to, her core campaign message. And she also got owned in a fucking interview with Meghan McCain about it. That's how badly she's doing on the war thing. She wants to, can we stop talking about the Iran stuff and get back to, big structural Bailey?
We're going to drop big structural Bailey on Tehran.
So maybe, Castro is saying, okay, we're doing new stuff now.
Okay, but
Castro taught her how to dance.
oh, okay, that's what I mean.
That's-
Maybe this is petulant, but hey, it's in my nature. Okay.
You know what you're signing up for when you listen
yeah,
to this podcast.
Okay, so you must yeah, like nice pantsuit, Elizabeth. My drapes called. They want it back. So I know you guys probably saw clips from the event in the King's Theater. Number one, her just like awkwardly just trying to really get a big pop out of double selfie time.
She is now.
Double selfie time.
You would have to do one selfie for there to be double selfies, and as we've said many times, she's never done a single selfie. Those aren't selfies.
They're not selfies.
They're not
I'm
selfies.
sick of this. They're not selfies. They're just photographs.
A selfie. The term existed because you're taking
Well, but
it
she
yourself.
doesn't get a lot of contemporary concepts. For example, you cannot dump someone who ghosted you.
Yeah,
But she has people.
Like she doesn't understand the concepts.
Yeah,
she's hired
dump
people.
the guy who ghosted you. It's like that done. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
There's a staff of people who should know these things.
So there are 2 moments of brutal cringe. Her screaming double selfie time,
Selfie time.
and number 2, her dancing at the end, like Elaine Bettis style,
Yes.
dancing at the end of it. That just oof,
Yeah.
oof.
Eesh.
It's really
Oof,
bad.
that was real bad. And I know it was bad because like all of her biggest defenders are so angry that anyone's making fun of it.
yeah.
There's-
That's
yeah.
the latest Contra Tom.
yeah,
the
yeah,
campaign.
like exactly.
It's
And
weird though because she's literally Hillarying.
Yeah.
Amber,
She's literally Hillarying.
Amber, I saw someone say this the other day online, and I thought it was so fucking on point. I think it was shout out Jimmy Jazz on Twitter. He said like all politics, aside, policies, blah blah blah, but just as a politician, a candidate, a personality, Elizabeth Warren is all the cringe of Hillary and none of the ruthlessness.
Yeah. She's a weak Hillary.
Yeah, and then I saw Cory Booker today piped up to say like he's trying to get like he's going to endorse Elizabeth Warren next,
Oh, yeah.
so try to get down on that. And he piped up today to say, raise your hand if you know why people are making fun of Elizabeth Warren dancing and not my dad jokes.
Because I forgot you were alive until you posted it.
Yeah. No, because like you, the last campaign event you did a month out from Iowa, you were addressing the wing in Soho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 people.
Yeah, no, because
So-
we're making fun of your Furby eyes.
KG, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this, Cory Booker.
That's the first guy. I'm the first guy to do this.
It's like Cory Booker's campaign has been like just like weird scripted interactions with Rosario Dawson.
Oh,
where-
it's really bad.
Yeah, where they like their advisors create a sort of rainbow in the distance, and he's like, "Do you see that? You're as beautiful as that. I love you." And then addressing rooms of 12 people. So it's like, forgive me, I forgot you were running. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, everyone thought, yeah, no one knew you were still in the race, dude.
Yeah.
Sorry. Also, according to her campaign, there were about 1,500 people outside who couldn't get in, and King's Theater is pretty big. That's the venue that Virgil.
Yeah, well, I was
were-
I was the victimized by a racially motivated attack from the Friends of the Pod Militia, the terrorist organization.
No,
Friends
yeah,
of
the
Pod.
State Department does deem Friends of the Pod as a terrorist group. I mean, it's weird. It's the military wing of Pod Save America.
So that's the theater you were kicked out of, Virgil. But it's like I think that holds about 3,000. It's a beautiful old theater. So it was at capacity for the Warren event, and the Warren supporters, they want to have a party, they want to feel good. I'm sure they are looking for any reason to feel good. But I gotta say, middle of Brooklyn, New York City, about 4,000 people.
Oh,
Not great.
I
Not
mean,
great.
come on. I'm saying like if you're gonna be national president, you gotta be 10K. Or it's not worth getting out of bed for.
Absolutely.
And
I bet we could do a dual show with a similarly popular podcast and pull those numbers.
probably.
If we could combine with someone, yeah.
Then we can run for president as friends.
And then it was streamed live on Facebook and got about 100,000 views. So
Cringe.
that's
Yeah, no, she's trending and she's not trending well.
That is so funny about Cory Booker though. It's just like, dude, like just drop out. You're giving talks at the wing.
Yeah.
Like, why are you in Iowa or New Hampshire, dude? Like,
Yeah.
this is you've given up entirely.
He has to go to Girl We Work.
Cory Booker is like, I've said it before, probably on this show, I forget, but the thing I do like about him is like he is trying so fucking hard. And he just doesn't have it. Like he just doesn't have it, but he's trying so fucking hard.
But to do what is the question?
Hang out.
He just really wants to hang
Be
out.
nice to the most amount of people possible.
Yeah.
That is what it is. Yeah, that's what you said. Is that like his campaign is based entirely off of offending no one?
Yeah, he just likes making friends. He's a curious young man.
Well, that was his pitch. He was one of the first to announce that his pitch was, we just all need to love each other.
Yeah.
Let's all just get in a cuddle puddle, America.
Yeah.
And people were like, yeah, we're not really in the mood for that. We want to kill each other very much.
You're a free hugs guy in a bare knuckle boxing ring.
Yeah.
So Warren pulled a few thousand for her event.
Yeah.
And as we remember a few months ago, Bernie pulled in Queens 26,000.
Uh-huh.
And of course, Bernie had some
And there
firepower
was
there.
overflow.
He had AOC. But you know what? Bernie has AOC. Warren has Julian Castro.
Yeah.
As well, she got, 100,000 in live stream.
Mhm.
What was that number for a recent video that the Bernie campaign put out?
Well, I mean, it just the Emily Ratajkowski endorsement video has 1.7 million views, and that's just on Twitter. So
Yeah.
I don't know what the Facebook numbers on that are.
I
but
think they're in the millions for sure.
yeah.
So she has officially been deployed for this cycle.
Oh yeah.
She went on Michael Moore's podcast, and I guess she's making the rounds. Might want to get in on some booking there.
Perhaps.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. All right. Anything else on the campaign that you want to talk about? I have 2 reading series for us today. To sink our
I
teeth
do
into.
kind of want to read this thing. And I guess it's Greg Krieg, which I'm sorry, those sound too much like the same name. Change your name. Trump campaign blitzes Bernie over email for the second straight day. By the way, I tried to find this on the website, but it's not on the website. The Trump-Pence 2020 website is like all Christmas wrapping paper for sale.
Because we're saying it again.
I
We're
love
saying
it.
Christmas.
Yeah. And so dangerous. Bernie Sanders can't be trusted to defend American lives. Sanders opposed taking top terrorist Soleimani off the battlefield while repeating Iranian and Russian propaganda. That one it's going to bite you in the ass, too, because you can't play both sides of Russia stuff. But the best one is fact. Bernie Sanders is a wealthy fossil fuel guzzling millionaire. I like it. It makes it sound like he's drinking it.
Drinking
He's
crude. out of a goblet.
shotgunning it, like just like a wealthy Hollywood elite. Triple parentheses Hollywood. Bernie Sanders lectures Americans how to live their lives while doing the exact opposite. Let's see here. Bernie Sanders is lecturing the American people they need to pay more in taxes, surrender their private health insurance plan, and accept job losses in order to implement his extreme left-wing agenda. But he's just another Hollywood-style hypocrite who demands working-class Americans make sacrifices while he plays by his own rules and enjoys a lavish lifestyle. Sexy Bernie lives large. Like, you're not doing it. They're dangerous Donalding him
Sexy
again.
Bernie has an arrangement. You're still with your disgusting wife.
It's just very, one, I think it's interesting that they're like, oh, and I think the right has figured this out, that Bernie is more of a threat than the Dems have. And
And
two, they
they're panicking.
misunderstand what people like about Bernie.
Well,
And they
you can-
accidentally make him sound cool.
Well, you can see that they have to go with the culture stuff. So they're like, he's a Hollywood elite, because the only type of rich people are Hollywood liberals. There are certainly no conservative rich people who control everything.
You say
I think he's doing tropes.
He's doing tropes
that,
for
that,
sure.
that press release was many tropes. Amber, I gotta say though, I did see a news item the other day about how Bernie and Jane have bought a 4th toaster,
God damn it!
living pretty high on the hog.
I love toast.
Yeah, no, that's I would say that is an encouraging sign.
It is good. Yeah.
That's an
I'm glad
encouraging
that,
sign.
You know, because they're stupid. But at the very least, I think we can acknowledge that the right sees things about the Democratic field that the Democrats themselves are too hysterical to notice.
All right, I've got 2 reading series for us today to go through. One is fairly short, the other is a little bit meatier. But this first one, it's quick. I'm keeping this one in my back pocket since the end of the year. I think a full deck is the right one to put this out. This is coverage of the Young Conservative Convention near Mar-a-Lago.
Ooh.
This is the TPUSA convention. This comes courtesy of Vice magazine. It's by Jamie Lee Curtis Tate. I wonder if there's any relation.
Okay.
The headline is 12 unsettling photos from the Young Conservative, and you can guess what the photos are.
Use your imagination.
Just matching homunculi in red MAGA hats. So it just says here, last week, thousands of conservative high school and college students gathered for the annual Turning Point USA Student Leadership Summit in West Palm Beach, Florida. The summit was held near Mar-a-Lago, and Donald Trump showed up himself for a last-minute talk on the conference's 3rd day. during which he launched into a weird diatribe against wind power that went
Doesn't
viral.
sound like him. Weird diatribe? That's not my guy.
The event consisted of talks, networking events, and workshops, all of which are pretty much what you would expect at a gathering of the right that included Ben Shapiro, Sarah Sanders, and the president. Capitalism is good. Impeachment is a sham. The left wants to take your guns and turn the country into Venezuela. Antifa, the real fascists, blah, blah, blah. Something to do now with how referring to trans people by their correct pronouns is the same as 1984. Then someone would say AOC, and the crowd would boo.
Can I just say it's funny how the way pool reporters have to describe the president's lunatic senile remarks, things like weird diatribe, how that is now being used to recapitulate Biden speeches. And I found this was in an article in the LA Times. Biden immediately embraced the opportunity to emphasize the value of his foreign policy experience in a world roiled by Trump's America First policies, touching on his years in the Senate, including as chairman of Foreign Relations Committee and as Obama's trusted wingman. He did so in Iowa on Saturday in a rambling talk marred by some misstatements. But Tuesday gave a more formal speech guided by teleprompters in New York.
After he'd been doped up.
Like, how would you even cover that general election campaign?
Yep. Just finding different synonyms for just demented prattle.
I want it so bad.
The dementia thesaurus has got to be expanding by the day.
Yeah, in a disjointed series of slurred comments.
In a concatenation of syllables.
At times, both candidates appeared confused, pausing their remarks to ask, "Where am I?"
It was a practical cornucopia of incoherence.
There you go again of the 2020 election. Biden versus Trump will be both men asking the same reporter, Becky Quick from CNN, if that is in fact their daughter.
So all these things are just sort of a preamble. I'm getting somewhere with this one. So because a few times speakers said something so wild that stopped me dead in my tracks, like when Ann Coulter compared Ilhan Omar to Joseph Mengele, or when Dinesh D'Souza said, "To me, democratic socialism differs from socialism, kind of in the same way that gang rape differs from individual rape."
Jesus.
So.
What?
Oh.
Okay. So it goes on for a little bit, but so the organizers seem to have made a few attempts to make the conservative messaging more appealing to young people. There were a bunch of selfie stations dotted around, and the Ayn Rand booth had graphic novels and a downloadable emoji keyboard.
Hell yeah.
Sean Hannity was wearing a hoodie.
Yeah. By young people, they mean 11 years old.
Yeah, no, people there with their parents.
People who need pictures in their books.
These are young conservatives, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's like 50 years old.
Yeah. All right. Here's where I'm really going. Here's the crown jewel of this piece. The reason I selected it. The talk I saw that seemed the most explicitly crafted towards young people was one by disgraced BuzzFeed editor and current TPUSA employee Benny Johnson.
BuzzFeed
Benny.
BuzzFeed Benny Johnson, who talked about the left's inability to meme. Johnson came out on stage.
Dude, every Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, I'm memeing on my family.
I'm getting flashbacks.
They're cucks.
I'm getting
They're
actual
memed on.
flashbacks to 4 years ago when Felix and I first met BuzzFeed Benny when he was still working for BuzzFeed in New Hampshire at a Ted Cruz event, and he was just kind of ambling around. The best way I can describe it is just livestock. And he was like he was like a cow chewing his cud because he was carrying around a sack of candy.
Yeah, it was like candy corn. It was like
It was gross.
Not
Yeah.
even good candy.
It was like, he had like an imbecile snack pack.
It was like a fanny pack full of candy corn.
And he was dropping candy corn on the floor. Just this ambling
Just
imbecile.
stepping on it, grinding it into the carpet without noticing.
It was like, they had like a horse who endured a head injury there. He was like very high energy, but accomplishing nothing. Like this was a cursed event. We saw Ted Cruz, Benny Johnson, and Frank Luntz all at the same event.
It's like a VFW hall or something.
Yeah, and it was like
Or a Mr. Universe pageant.
and it was like Frank Luntz was like just standing in a corner being interviewed by like some nobody from like, Talking Heads TV or Bloghead TV or whatever the fuck those places are, and being like, well, the establishment lane's still making its choice, but Trump's clearly out of the establishment lane. And, a talk for nobody, by nobody, enjoyed by nobody. Benny was just wandering around, just leaving his cud chewings everywhere.
Just lumbering around eating candy
Yeah.
with this glazed expression on his eyes.
Ted Cruz.
Like I don't even know what content he was producing.
right.
Yeah, I don't. There wasn't like a camera with. I think he was writing one of those articles that were like, in 2016, one thing's for sure, the memes are heavy,
And
Like,
nobody was reading it. That was the most aggravating part about like all of these like Ben Smith at BuzzFeed like pushing Benny Johnson for some reason as like a kind of right of center guy who could speak in millennial language. Is that nobody under the age of 40 ever read any of that shit?
No, they flew Benny to Fort Hood, like sent him out.
For him to
No one-
take a picture of a Johnny Rockets.
Yeah.
Also, if you don't believe this, I have video of it.
Yeah, no, we did. I remember this clear as day. This was like, oh man, this was our apocalypse now, that trip. And we're going back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're going
All right.
back
So
in the shit.
all right. This is pretty good so
If
far.
I get memed on, I swear to God,
Yeah.
you
all right.
guys.
All right. So,
Officer memed on, requesting backup.
so
Repeat, the suspect is posting about Harambe in 2020. I am being memed on right now.
all right. So this is pretty good so far, right? So you're imagining. I mean, this already took you on like a Proustian reverie.
Oh, yeah.
To back to New Hampshire.
I'm remembering
2016.
CPAC
Yeah.
very
So
heavily.
yeah, imagine. Okay, so Benny Johnson takes the stage to give a talk about the left's inability to meme. Okay,
Right on.
You ready for this?
Ready for it.
Johnson came out on stage accompanied by someone dressed as Left Shark. Remember that one? Remember that one?
What?
What?
Remember Left Shark?
Left shark. Paul. Hey, Paul. You enjoy the left shark, Paul?
I'm just hearing just chopper blades and machine gun fire.
Who's
Was
in
that
charge
5
here?
years
I
ago?
thought it was you.
Was that 5 years ago?
Left Shark was Katy Perry's Super
Yeah,
Bowl
yeah.
halftime.
That was
more than
That was
5
like
years ago.
7
Christ.
years
I
No.
feel like I didn't live in New York when
Yeah.
it happened.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Benny Johnson comes out on stage by someone dressed as Left Shark, firing a T-shirt cannon into the crowd and screaming, "Who's ready for some memes?"
Dozens of geriatrics were killed by this t-shirt cannon. It just punched a hole through their soft heads, their 90-year-old heads. And their last memory, the last thing they saw was a t-shirt that had like fucking Chuck Norris saying like kicking AOC's head off. Just fucking create an exit wound the size of a basketball in their fucking big heads. Fun had by all at TPUSA Youth Summit. Dozens dead.
Left Shark firing a T-shirt crowd into the cannon and screaming, "Who's ready for some memes?" The left can't meme, he said. We're having more fun than them. We're way funnier. We're more awesome. On big screens at the side of the stage was a slideshow of conservative memes to underline Johnson's point. The memes included Baby Yoda wearing a TPUSA shirt and hat with a laughing Kanye in the background.
That's
Awesome.
fucking
That's a meme.
That's
I mean,
great,
that's
a
dude.
meme.
That's great.
In many ways, like that is like purely postmodern.
Yeah.
Like that's such an assemblage of like I can't tell if he doesn't know how they work anymore or he's just like this is he just finished his blue period and is moving on to cubism.
Yeah, they're like surrealist memes. It's just like you
just taking it apart.
Yeah, like they have
yeah.
the reference don't mean anything anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think. See, like the reason why I brought up that anecdote from New Hampshire is because I just genuinely don't think he's a smart man or particularly attentive to what he does.
No, but I like the idea that he's like got like a Dada-esque commitment now.
Yeah.
All right, well-
That's in my fantasy. Like he's just like
What-
no, let's just assemble them with no
I'm
meme.
asking the question, what are memes?
All right, here are a few more memes. The painting American Gothic, but
Okay.
with Greta Thunberg and David Hogg's faces photoshopped onto
Oh
it.
yeah,
Okay.
they're gay together. Let's go. Let's go, baby.
And a photo of AOC looking confused, caption, "So am I the president now?"
That's tight. That's fucking tight.
That's a meme.
That's a fucking meme.
That's a meme.
No doubt. No doubt in my mind.
The one
I
before
feel- I
that
feel
though
memed
doesn't
on.
even really have like a negative connotation to it.
Well, she's
Like
dumb.
they like
Well,
they
then
like
th-
American Gothic. Like they like that they like that imagery.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
but no, it's because they're frowny and sour, like those old
Yeah,
school
Oh, okay.
yeah, they're
farm
sort of
people.
yeah.
They're
They're
just
dour.
scolding
Yeah.
you. You can't have
Wagging,
guns
yeah.
or meat.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
memes.
Yeah.
We're taking away your memes.
If you meme on somebody, it's a hate crime.
All right.
I hate it. I hate it when epic conservatives make a Pepe of their grandmother.
Honestly, getting mad at David Hogg, that feels even more distant than the left shark thing. He doesn't do anything. I mean, he's just like a college student now.
Yeah, he just like posts.
He's
It
turning
used to-
into a lefty shit poster
Yeah,
now.
there was like 2 months where like all the conservative posts about David Hogg. Do you remember? They were
Oh, yeah.
so good.
They were really
like, yeah,
It was
this
like
is-
their Timothy Chalamet.
This is like, yeah.
Your tweet about it is one of my favorite tweets.
It was like
It's like, all right, David Hogg, here's the deal. You try to lift me up by the hip, and if you can't do it, son, then I'm going to lift you up by the hip. And I forget what this is about.
that's what it was like. It was crazy. It was like there were so many posts where it's just guys who like lost the plot and were like, I would love to get David Hogg naked, make sure that he's very slippery, and try to grab him and watch him fly all over the place.
Watch him just squirt out of my arms as I try to wrap him up.
David Hogg, I would love to debate you in a bathhouse. Just like all these
You
weird,
better own a towel, son.
all these weird like 55-year-old men who were like had kids but like had one gay experience in the Merchant Marines and like 40 years ago and are just like pissed off at the world. I just want to homoerotically punish this boy. It was a strange time in America.
We're going to recap here. Baby Yoda wearing a TPUSA t-shirt. American Gothic with Greta Thunberg and David Hogg. And a photo of AFC with the caption, "So am I the president now?" More than once, Johnson paused mid-sentence because he was laughing at the memes too hard.
Fucking imbecile.
Imbecile.
It's like I used to think like, do you remember when BuzzFeed Benny first popped on the scene? You and I posted a lot about him because it was like, oh, we thought he was like, oh my God, he's like laundering youth culture. This is like a clever like coke back thing. And then it's like the more we've seen of him, it's just like, oh, this is a purely stupid man.
Yeah, but he's still coke backed is the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
He's always failed up.
Yeah.
Even after like the plagiarism thing should have ended his career.
He got fired from a second place for plagiarism.
But
Well,
he keeps getting hired despite showing no actual ability to connect with young people. But I guess that's what we never realize is, his audience isn't young people, it's elderly people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's like Charlie Kirk. I mean, then they work together.
TPUSA,
Like,
yeah.
TPUSA is an actual, this word gets overused. It is an actual grift on old conservative people. You scare them with what your grandkids are learning. They're learning genders. We're going to protect them from the genders. And then they write you a check. Meanwhile, the only kids that show up are kids who want a fucking piece of the action.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like that's also why basically you could never trust anyone who is a child prodigy
Yeah.
because
oh,
they
God.
turn into actual like bow tie wearing psychopaths.
Yeah, no, it's like Herbalife.
Benny Johnson was a 32-year-old child prodigy when he was signed at BuzzFeed.
So just lastly here, it says, they don't want to speak your language. They don't understand you, Johnson 32 said. They don't understand us, the way that we communicate.
fellow kids.
What drugs has he been doing? It sounds like he's experiencing ego death in public.
I would like to get him in a room with a bunch of just aimless black-pilled Zoomers because he clearly he's getting up there now. I feel like he's losing his relevancy.
Well, yeah, the Zoomer conservative movement is just people like drawing illustrations where they talk to a girl and like planning mass shootings.
Yeah.
They're whatever they're into, they're not into this.
Well, Felix, I was thinking about this the other day, and like Benny said it here at the conference, and they love to say it. The left can't meme,
Yeah.
which is actually kind of true,
Yeah.
right?
Every left meme is like 75 paragraphs. Like the first like bad left memes I saw were like in the aftermath of the 2016 primary, and it would be like a picture of like Neera Tanden. It's like, my name's Neera Tanden. List every bad thing Neera Tanden did in her career, and it's like, come on, man, show me the frog.
Yeah.
Not the racist frog. Show me the.
I like the racist
unicycle
frog too, but I missed that boy.
The boy.
That was a pure moment.
Here come that boy.
Yeah, and
Well, that's the thing though. The best memes aren't they're not left
They're not
or right.
political. They're not
yeah,
political.
they're
Because like
devoid of
left
politics.
memes,
yeah.
left memes are so fucking didactic.
They're purely-
and
yeah.
They're so didactic, and they get one. It's the problem with all political memes. They get
Yes.
one joke and
Yes.
repeated forever. That's why you've seen so many fucking posts and cartoons and blah blah blah, where it's like a fucking Nazi and then like a cool Antifa guy, and the Nazi's like, I want to do the Holocaust, and the Antifa guy's like, I'm against that, and then it's like, dumb liberal pussy. Both these things are the same. How many hundreds of times have you seen
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
No, it doesn't work that way. Like memes are largely aesthetic. I want the little unicycle.
Yeah, it's like what, like the
unicycle frog.
the like fucking deep fried Zoomer memes where it's just like completely absurdist and barely any words. It's like cool. Like it's not really my style of thing, but it's like it's more honest to what that's supposed to be than any of this shit.
Give me a handsome Squidward.
And
Yeah,
most
yeah.
most right memes, as you think about it, are boomer cringe and awful.
Yeah.
Like really, it's just the fringe Nazis who have the good memes. Honestly.
Yeah, well, no, it's like the memes that have staying power or become part of a larger vernacular were either created by or proliferated by like Zoomer
Yes.
alt-right weirdos. And like the thing is, like they're very proprietary about that. But the thing is, like the reason they last and are so funny or have a kind of like a valence culturally is because for a meme to be successful, it has to be like a perfect little capsule of idiocy.
Yes.
Of just of like anti-meaning garbage.
Yeah.
But also like permutable into different interpretations.
Exactly, like-
most of which will be bad.
Yes.
But a few people will bump it up. You know,
Like-
it's closer to like a folk kind of like your mama jokes or something. Like you have a medium that you work with. Most of them aren't good. But once in a while, someone did something amazing with it.
And like Virgin versus Chad.
Yeah.
Like there's so many variations of that. I always love Virgin versus Chad, but what's so funny about it, or like why it is replicatable, or like you can riff on it, is because the original thing is something that these people sincerely believe in.
Yeah.
Like this is like a summation of their worldview,
Well-
which is what makes it so funny.
But I mean, Virgin versus Chad, that didn't start politically. It started like on 4chan, like it was like nerds making fun of other nerds, identifying the virgin walk, which is a 100% identifiable funny thing.
Or soy
then-
face or things like that.
Right. And the Chad walk is like, it's like a joke response to that. But like this didn't start as like really political. Like a lot of these things that like are ascribed as political memes are just like, they're bastardized to like add on a bunch of meaning, and it makes them less fun for sure.
Well, just like with anything with like internet virality, like anything that's created with the intention of being popular or viral is just doomed.
Right,
It's
right,
like
right.
it goes nowhere, right? Because like like I said, you need that kind of like initial like seed of just sort of banality, nihilism, really really shitty art skills,
Yeah.
and just kind of like just like I said, a perfect capsule of just idiocy and like anti-meaning
Right.
is what makes these things.
And when someone does something interesting with them, it's someone doing emulating outsider art. When there's like when you hear a good Daniel Johnston cover, but most of them are very bad, and people shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
This is like maybe too long-winded, and it references Now Scarred. We'll leave it for another time, I guess.
I appreciate art talk here today.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
All
I
right.
definitely should
All right.
go into it.
All right, we're at an hour now. I'm going to save the other reading series I have till next episode because it deserves space. It is really chunky.
Okay.
All right,
go.
if we're
It's really chunky.
If we're gonna
Chunky.
say that, I might go into my thing then.
Okay.
Yeah, do your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, yeah. So, okay, I was talking about Karlov Nausgaard's My Struggle with my sister yesterday, right? And like, I realized what I think is actually like amazing about it. And what I think is amazing about it is like, it kind of doesn't matter if you read the entire thing. It doesn't, because there's so much in there that just is like immaterial and meaningless. It's more like, it doesn't really seem like a book. It's more like a song. Like you get into the rhythm of his life because he talks about fucking everything. But the thing I like about it is that it's written during this age of like first person essays where every interaction and every trauma or even every good thing is, and every piece of art that someone is writing about experiencing is supposed to have this deep meaning, this deep political valence, and it's supposed to be this totem to this overall global trend or whatever. And Nausgaard takes everything in his entire life. There are things in there that's like, yeah, on Thursdays sometimes it was my dad's job to make dinner, and there'd be 4 sandwiches, one with mayo, one with herring, one with mayo and herring, one with peppers, and I like the second one, but if it was my choice,
Deal.
it would just be like so much shit like that was pointless. But it's like you would get through the 100 pages about his adolescence, about trying to find beer for a party. 100 pages describing this, and there'd be no meaning. There'd be no purpose. This didn't have a point. This didn't have a larger implication for any point he was making, because he was not making a point. The point was that this is meaningless. He was burying you with detail to show that this was meaningless, and it is not era defining. It's era defining, where we were supposed to glean meaning out of everything. He gives you his entire life and says that it's meaningless, and in that creates an incredible, what I think is an absolutely fucking incredible work of art. And to that extent, the best things you see online are that they're burying you with these little heartbreaking details, these things that they identify about your life or anything that are heartbreaking, and how specific and crushing they are. And the takeaway is it's meaningless. Political memes suck because it's the latter type of first person essay. It's trying to fucking glean meaning out of the way that AOC looks stupid, or the guillotines are epic.
So I was yesterday trying to think of good anti-war songs, and there's a lot of really good heavy-handed anti-war songs, and the one that I had completely forgotten about because it's the most 90s one is this song by Cake called I Bombed Korea. And there is literally no politics in it whatsoever. It is a pure character study of a Korean war vet, and he just doesn't know. He has not grappled with it. He doesn't know why he did it. He's like, we didn't even know those people, so I sit here at the bar, and I'm not a hero, but I bombed Korea every night. And it was or with fucking Uncut Gems was one of the things walking out of it. I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe it's been this long since I've seen a movie that's an intimate character study of one man and the 15 people in his life. And it's not fucking hitting you over the head with we live in a society. I am so sick of being told I live in a society. We've lost every aesthetic and intimate and human detail of art trying to scream that we live in a society. I saw fucking Hustlers, the Jennifer Lopez stripper movie where they were fucking drugging Wall Street guys, and they tried to make it about the fucking 2008 financial crisis. They tried to make it to The Big Short. I'm like, that is not why we're here. I am here to smoke weed in a movie theater and see strippers drug Wall Street guys. This is not supposed to be we live in a society movie. And when you get a piece of art like that, Nausgaard or I Bombed Korea or Uncut Gems or whatever, you realize shit, we have overwhelmed ourselves with the responsibility to be didactic at the expense of the art itself.
Yeah, and I feel like now people take in more information and content than they ever did. They possibly read just literal words at a higher volume than people did at any point in history. And they're shittier readers than ever.
Yeah.
Because everything you're not supposed to do the work of gaining the meaning from the art, or gleaning the meaning, or gleaning even the personal meaning. Even if it's explicitly not about that, you can create that meaning for yourself. That's one of the fun things about art. But because everything is you're just beaten over the head by everything. Everything is a moral invective. People passively consume we live in a society over and over again, and they don't remember that there are people in it that have lives that you can think about, and there's purely aesthetic aspects to things and quotidian fucking daily life and everything, which has been completely eliminated from art. I just wanted the stripper movie to be a stripper movie. Why did it have to be The Big Short? Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, let's close out this episode by having a little fun. We're now past the sell-by date of this into January, but we're all in the same room, so let's do it and share it with the listeners. Let's finally do our Chapo Secret Santa. So how do you guys want to do? Why don't you go around and reveal? Why don't we go around and reveal who each one of us got, and then we can do the gift exchange.
Okay.
So, Amber.
I got Felix.
I got Amber.
I got Chris.
I got Will.
I got Virgil.
Oh,
I got Matt.
Perfect.
All right.
Unlike last year's debacle, we won't be discussing that. So
They forgot me.
Amber, go first.
Okay, there's two parts of this. I'm not going to say what's in the bag, but the bag is for, taking with you on the actual present.
Ooh.
But the actual present, and I'm
Thank you so much.
All right. Let's.
What is it?
Yeah, you gotta.
it's a treat for when he goes to the actual present. So the actual present, and I will forward it to you, but it's 2 tickets to a Bronx Zoo conservation connection.
Oh my God.
So basically, you can enjoy the treat in there and also spend like a half hour in a room with a penguin with a friend.
Oh my God, Amber.
Wow.
What a
Great gift.
fucking great gift. Holy shit.
I worked so hard because he's right. It is so hard to give a present to Felix because he is so weird. And then I'm like, I bet he'd like to be fucked up around a penguin.
Just pencil in some FaceTime with you and one of the penguins.
Yeah.
This is a perfect gift.
That
this
is
is a
slam
perfect
dunk.
gift.
Wow,
Thank
it's
you
gonna
so
be
much.
It's gonna be hard to.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
now
hard
I
to
feel
top
like an
that.
asshole.
All right, here we go. Here is my gift for Amber.
Oh. All right, here we go.
You can you make that out?
It's alcohol related. So I have some glassware here,
Yeah.
which is geographically significant. I don't know how to explain
Okay.
it.
All right. So these are some lovely whiskey glasses, but
Unfortunately, as much as I make fun of them, I actually am a whiskey girl. So this makes sense.
These are 4 whiskey glasses, but the glass is blown such that at the bottom of each glass is a sort of glass blown replica of 4 of the biggest mountains in
Gorgeous.
America's national park system. We've got Mount Denali, we've got the Half Dome, we've got Mount Rainier and Mount Whitney from several of America's biggest and best national parks.
This is perfect. Thank you, Will. This really captures my David Attenborough alcoholism.
All right.
Okay, so I got Chris, and I almost went with the Trumpy Bear. But I did not because, 1, I didn't want to give those fucks money, and 2, it was like a genuinely cheap product. Like, that's like claw machine quality item for like $80. So instead, I went with something a little more ephemeral. I don't have wrapping paper because I'm a boy. Oh, wait, hang on. Okay, yeah.
This is. It's first of all, let us say that this theme is coming from the sound buzzer that was in the Game of Thrones Monopoly at the dojo at the Iowa dojo. But this is a bottle of Johnny Walker, A Song of Fire blended Scotch whiskey, Game of Thrones limited edition.
Tastes like Gambo.
Man. This is great. Should I take a quick shot right now?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
On air. Did you steal that from the dojo?
No.
This is quite smooth. It's very nice. Great whiskey. Yes.
So
Thank
you would say
Virgil.
it's more ice than fire.
Well, it's got that spiciness to it. So it has that fire in it. It's not like a cinnamon or a fireball or anything, but it's quite nice. Thank you very
Nice.
much, Virgil. I will enjoy this very quickly. Okay, I actually kind of was the fuck up this year. So only half my gift is here because the other half of it is ordered from Japan. And
Okay. I like where this is going.
And I honestly ordered a bit ago, but the shipping kept getting delayed, and it should be here, I believe, tomorrow or very soon.
All right.
But this is for Will.
Okay.
So here's half of it here, and then I'm going to pull
All right.
up a picture of the second half of it.
This is the top
Oh,
pair.
okay. This is a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Nice.
Very nice.
And it is to be paired with this.
An amazing standing figurine of Vegeta.
Yes.
in his Super Saiyan blonde. In his Super Saiyan blonde.
Beautiful.
It is.
Pretty great.
Iteration.
It is a tasteful, about 6 inches tall.
Okay, perfect.
Extremely beautifully articulated and painted.
That is gorgeous.
And, it's a dude's rock gift.
That is gorgeous, and Catherine will thank you personally for that later because I will be displaying it prominently in our living room.
Yes, excellent. So thanks to Will and apologies to Catherine.
Hey, can I get a swig of that?
Yeah, sure.
So I got Virgil, and I also don't have wrapping paper because I also am a boy. I just
That is smooth.
I like to josh with Virgil, but this is just to let him know that I'm actually on his side in his battle against gender, and I want to help him with his efforts to do so.
It is a book entitled Kiss My Genders. And it is a book of artwork.
It's gender art.
It's gender. I got gender.
Merry Christmas, Virgil. Here's
Merry
some
Christmas.
gender.
Here's some gender.
Looks like there's quite a lot of erotic photography
Oh, yeah.
in there.
No, it's very erotic.
Very lovely. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
All right. In a departure from my family Christmas, which I love. Everyone knows how much I love Christmas. It's why I supported Donald Trump.
You get to watch Ray Donovan with your
We
family.
love it. We love it. But I don't get to shop for other straight males at Christmas. I'm the only one in my immediate family. And it's very difficult. It's difficult for them to shop for me. It's difficult for me to shop for them. We figured out. But getting Matt, I've gotten possibly the most straight white male.
Correct.
And what an easy gift to buy.
He's literally the only zero on the Kinsey here.
Oh, hell yes.
All right, what we got here?
Oh, what is that?
This is a Brewers.
Oh,
cool.
This is a classic
windbreaker.
Brewers like dugout jacket.
Yeah.
It had-
Excellent.
That's perfect.
That's great.
Oh, that's
Th-
lovely.
th- what
puppy
this is
on.
to match? This is to match Matt's newest clothing item, and they are very easy to track because he has about 6 of them
Correct.
overall that
Yeah.
I've seen. The Con Air bomber jacket.
Yeah, that
you
one's
just bought.
sick.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I'm very proud of that. That's the most expensive item of clothing I own. It's probably worth the entirety of my outfit.
Oh, this is part of the Crispin drip now.
Yeah. Oh,
That actually looks great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
perfect.
2020 was the year of drip for me. I'm gonna
Yeah.
drip it up. I did some experimental dripping in 2019.
Yeah.
But 2020 is gonna be all drip.
So that is that. That looks great on you, Matt.
Thank you. Yes,
That
thank
looks
you.
fantastic.
Thank you, Virgil.
It
Yeah.
pairs very well with the jeans that you buy from grocery stores.
Yes, it does.
Those
By
are
the way,
corduroy.
That is not a
Those are
joke.
corduroys,
He
though.
has bought jeans from
I need to
grocery
get some more
stores.
Kroger jeans.
Well, you'll have an opportunity to do that when we are on tour.
Woo!
Yes.
We are doing shows at the end of the month in Iowa City, Iowa, or rather next month, Iowa City, Iowa, Derry, New Hampshire, and Las Vegas, Nevada in the run-up to those 2 caucuses and primary. Tickets are available at chapotraphouse.com/tour.
Well, a belated Merry Christmas to you guys. Always fun to get gifts. Amber, do you have any plugs?
No, just one last shout out to Trevor for that lovely message he sent us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you explain
Oh, yeah.
a little bit?
I don't think
Okay,
we need to.
all right.
He knows.
He knows who he is.
Look, he's
Trevor
someone who
sent us
sent us an
email.
email trying to not solicit us for money to buy a compound with him. It's honestly the nicest message we ever got, and it makes me feel less embarrassed about having to explain what a podcast is every holiday season to my grandfather, who still thinks I should try and go into dental hygiene.
My grandmother is 99 and always asks me if I'm making any money.
It's Trevor V. Just so
Yeah.
Trevor V.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, buddy.
All right, and thanks to all you guys, the listeners. A belated Merry Christmas to you as well. Tune in next time to hear the really, really stacked reading series that honestly will take up probably half of the episode.
Can't
so
wait.
stay tuned for that one. Bye.
Bye.
I bombed Korea every night. I bombed Korea every night. Red flowers bursting down below us. didn't even know us. We didn't know if we would live or die. We didn't know if it was wrong or right. I bombed Korea every night. And so I sit here at this bar. I'm not a hero, I'm not a movie star. I've got my beer, I've got my stories to tell, but they won't tell you what it's like in hell. Red flowers bursting down below us. Those people didn't even know us. We didn't know if we would live or die. We didn't know if it was wrong or right. We didn't know if we would live or die. I bombed Korea every night.